What's up, guys? KB Cooper here, and the video you are about to watch is a podcast interview I did for the 3Q Talk podcast. If you guys would like to know more about the podcast, please check the link in the description below. I also want to apologize for any audio and video delay sync issues. I tried my best to get it perfectly, but there was just no way for me to figure it out without cutting the video and making it a very tedious task. Nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you do like it, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, buy, break it. I don't care, as long as you do something with it. This has been KB Cooper, and I hope you enjoy the interview. Peace!
He gets the Nexus, but the question is, can he actually get away? Mana now chasing down these Immortals, even with probes in here. He's going to get the probes to try to block in front of him. The probe drill to capture all of the Immortals. A brilliant and beautiful move that we never see out of Mana.
You're listening to the 3Q podcast.
Boom! A clap starts it all. What's the clap for, Kyle?
The clap is essentially for an audio timeline stamp that we can match up the video with our audio.
The video with our audio. That means we're gonna, the first time the 3Q podcast has a video, not stream, but like recording to it.
Yes.
Cool. How do you know about this stuff?
Honestly, self-taught. I've, ever since I was like a teenager, I would say around 13,
Yep.
Very heavy into video games. And when YouTube was blowing up as that platform,
Yep.
I took a lot of interest into that and how to better participate in YouTube, and started looking for different avenues to how do I record this? What equipment do I need? And just through research, looking at other successful channels, finding out what other people's setups were. PewDiePie. Yep. I started to identify things that I needed to make that puzzle come together, and through a lot of trial and error have purchased the wrong equipment, the right equipment, wrong operating systems for different equipment, things like that. But I finally have found a honed-in process.
Cool. So that gives us a good snapshot. We're going to talk about it. Do you need a water, by the way?
I may.
You
at
may.
some point.
Run for it.
Okay.
Run for it.
I will.
Run.
Vamp.
Run for your life. Carl's running. You will see this on the video now. Carl running out the door. So it's always good to come back to the website 3qtalk.com, because that's where I'm gonna link the video. I've been podcasting for a while. Been busy traveling around, spending some time in California, work related. Been in Chicago. Like really fortunate being given all those chances to travel around, which is awesome. Unfortunately, I can't podcast during those times. Anyways, Kyle, I already said your name now, but like, say your name, age, and favorite music video of all times.
Favorite music and video of all time, huh? All right, we'll start with name. My name is Kyle Billmeyer, also known as KB Cooper.
KB Cooper?
Yep, that's my online name, essentially.
That's your nick? From the start, was it your first screen name, or has it evolved since?
So it did evolve since, but that was mainly because when I started playing online, my parents wanted to have control
All right.
over the accounts that I used. So it was the name that they had picked. I since have changed it to the one that I wanted. But
What did they pick for you?
they made me hybrid my stepdad's name and my name, or their company, I guess I should say. So their company's Denby Consulting, and my initials are KB. So it was Denby KB.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't like it didn't read well. Nobody knew what it meant. It was just not a good screen name for somebody who was trying to make YouTube videos and things.
But you had to accept it because you wanted to play games.
Yep, I want to play games online, and that was the ticket for entry.
Cool. Two more things. Age and favorite music video of all times.
So age 22. I will be turning 23 in about 2.5 weeks, though. So favorite music video. Honestly, I'm going to go with I'm Not Okay by MCR, or My Chemical Romance, I should say. Just because nothing super artistic about that video, but it was just resonated with a huge part of my life when that music video and that band was making music. From an artistic standpoint, though, I really like one-shot videos like Baker Man or
Laid Back?
Yeah, Laid Back, Baker Man,
It's
or
big
even
bread.
the latest Madonna music video, though I'm not a huge fan of
that one yet, yeah?
I like music videos that are taken in one shot, or that give the feeling that they're taken in one shot.
Tell me why.
I don't know. It's just I know how hard it is to artistically pull off that shot, because if one person messes up, you got to redo the whole thing. And I just think it's cool. I think it takes a lot of work to pull off, and I admire it.
I remember there was a story on the interwebs a while back, like Sundance Film Festival, and like a team of people had filmed like a whole movie on like an iPhone 5, something like that.
Yeah.
And like and they edited it on their phones, something crazy, right? They use software and like basically like simple phone hardware to record a whole like movie, which is pretty cool, right? If you think about like what cameras in phones used to be, or like no cameras in like back in the Nokia days, we've come a long way. We don't want to talk about cameras today, though. Maybe a little bit later.
A little bit.
And I'm a bit freaked out because we have a GoPro sitting here at the edge of the table recording us right now. Who would watch this shit?
I mean,
who would watch us sitting here talking for like...
People watch crazier things on the internet.
Yeah, I agree. So, you play killer games, Kyle. You play killer games on different consoles, on PC and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Are you a killer?
No, not by any means.
You giggle a lot.
I do. I'm a very giggly.
So you don't seem to me like somebody who's like super aggressive, like somebody who needs to like express themselves in killer games.
No.
Let's dive into killer games. What's your first? What's your first drug? Like, when did you start like playing video games? What was that first game that got you started?
Oh wow, that's a throwback, but I remember it.
You're 22. How much of a throwback can it be, Kyle?
Honestly, my mom bought me a Game Boy Pocket when I was 3 years old, and I don't even think she knew what she was getting.
I like the approach.
Yeah, so she bought it for me as like, if for those of you who remember, the original Game Boy was this fat thing, no color to it.
I have one on my desk, by the way.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. I did notice that. And I got the one that's like the slimmed down version of that one.
Right.
What
color did you get?
It was just silver, if I recall correctly, because it was the Game Boy Colors that started bringing the different colors into that spectrum. So that was my first console or handheld console. And
you were playing like Tetris?
Tetris was a game that I got later down the road, but the first game that I had actually gotten for it was the Jungle Book, and it was not a good game.
Like, the Jungle Book was
it was like a Disney property game, cool. But it was just it almost the art direction of the game did not very much let you know what you were to do, and so as a 3, 4, 5-year-old, I threw my hands up in the air, and that was around the same time in the world where Pokemon came to be. So that became my game of choice on the Game Boy, as it did for many people in my generation.
That makes sense, yeah. Are you millennial?
I would consider, yeah, I would say I'm
What's the generation after millennials?
Have we picked that yet?
I don't know.
It's so weird because, like, wouldn't we consider some of our younger colleagues millennials, though they're older than me by 3-4 years?
Yeah, I think I'm a millennial. Yeah. I'm like 32 years old. I'm a millennial. I'm like the first batch of millennial. I would call them digital natives.
You hipster millennial.
Yeah, you see my mustache and like all that. Yeah. So you started with Pokemon and the Jungle Book. Interesting. My 3-year-old now, he's like hooked on Minecraft. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's on Minecraft. That's a
huge one.
And he's 3 years old, right? Like, Minecraft is not an easy game. Like, I'm kind of like struggling with this a little bit. Mm-hmm. And like, this guy is just like, he's doing his thing together with his older brother. They're betting off it. So I'm curious what they're gonna do when they're like 22. Like, are they gonna be interested?
Well, the craziest thing about Minecraft is my little brother. He's, I believe, 9 years old.
You believe?
I'm not good with birthdays, or at least birth years. I have 4 other siblings as well, so it's hard to keep it all together.
All the 5 of them?
Trust me, out of all the things I remember, birthdays are not one of them. But he is huge into Minecraft. He's actually taking Minecraft coding classes online at 9 years old. And I thought when I went to community college and I tried to take a coding class, I took the withdrawal. I was like, I'm lost. You miss one class and you're lost forever. Or at least that's how I approached it. But there's, crazy, in our own backyard in Ann Arbor, there's a company called, I believe it's GameSmart, and they do Minecraft coding classes as low as 1st grade.
Oh, really?
Because the kids are so attached to it, and Minecraft is such a...
What are they called?
It's GameSmart, I believe.
GameSmart.
Yeah.
I want to interview those guys.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're going to be at that pizza fundraiser that I spoke to you earlier about.
So you go to a pizza fundraiser after this?
Yes.
And I need you to get me that podcast interview from these guys, please.
I will.
Thank you, Carl.
I will plant the seeds.
Perfect. Game smart. My first grader, 6-year-old, he's just gonna love this.
Yeah.
I got a box from Amazon, like big Amazon Prime fan, and I got a box from Amazon yesterday, like with a full compendium of Minecraft books in there, as well as like secret tips of Minecraft, and like. He was hugging me and telling me how much he loves me. Like after opening up, 6 years old, I was like, wow. Like I didn't know you were like so much into books, but like if it relates to what they do,
it's relatable. Yeah,
absolutely cool. So Pokemon, and then you went on to what's your first killer game when you actually had to like
Oh yeah.
Like, did you play CS, like Counter-Strike? Is that like a thing?
So first killer game goes a little bit farther back than that because I technically joined Counter-Strike pretty late to the game. But my first like game where you shot things, essentially, it was a T-rated game. Excuse me. And I had to convince my mom that I could go from E to T first. So I had to,
What's E and T?
So E is the ESRB, or the ratings are designated by the ESRB, which they're essentially the movie rating company for video games.
Right.
So E is for everyone, T is for teen, M is for mature, and A is for adults only. You essentially have to be 18 plus to buy those.
Yep.
So I had only been playing E games like Centipede, maybe a car racer, Spyro, platformers from that era. And my stepdad, he had gotten a game for his birthday, and that game was Army Soldiers. I don't even remember the full name, but it was like the Toy Soldiers brands that kind of became really well recognized after Toy Story as like, hey, we can make games out of these things. And you would go on these like little missions and toy soldier tanks and things like that and blow things up. But because there's violence, it got a T rating. I had to write my mom an essay, the context of which I do not recall.
She made you write an essay?
Yes, that was how my mother made me earn a lot of things in life, is I would have to write an essay, state, my purpose, and essentially just a persuasive essay for anything that she was on the fence about, just to see how much I really wanted.
I like the approach.
If I didn't write the essay, I didn't want it that bad.
Did she ever turn down an essay?
Yeah, she did, because some of them are just outrageous.
What for?
Like, oh, let me go to California. I'm 13 years old. That was never going to happen.
What was the pitch for that?
It was just, this is a center hub of skateboarding culture, and because I was really big into skateboarding then, and she just said, nope, like, I'm not gonna send you to California with a couple of friends. And nobody got to go either. So
props for trying though. I mean, that's gutsy.
What's the worst you're gonna get? A no?
If you don't ask, you don't get. Exactly. So you played Army Soldiers, some brother or the other. That's back in the offline days, right? Mm-hmm. Did you ever play like Commander Keen and that kind of stuff?
No.
That's like my childhood, like stunts, Commander Keen, and like like the there was somewhere like there was a Simpson game like Day of the Tentacle. Oh man. I could go on a mission now with this. So, what's the first online game you played?
First online game that I played? It's probably going to be either Counter-Strike 1.6 or Killzone for the PS2.
How did that change your perspective on gaming?
Oh, there was a pretty big fire going, and we just took gasoline and poured it all over once that happened, because it just fueled my competitive edge. And I noticed at a very young age that I was pretty decent at first-person shooter games from the get-go. So as I played against better people online, I was honing in on that skill. And that's kind of what led the transition into paying a lot of attention to YouTube, because that's where you would go to see the video representation of how to be better versus reading it. And that's where I learned a lot of my skills, or, hey, throw a grenade over here, or if you wait 30 seconds at the beginning of a match with the sniper rifle pointing at that spot, somebody will come 9 times out of 10. And you just learn little tricks, and you start to get better.
So in my naive mind, I might be arguing now, like, you were training yourself to most efficiently kill people.
I mean, I've heard that argument for first-person shooters, like, oh, it's just the subconscious way to train you into being a lethal killer. But
I'm just thinking about my kids, right?
Right.
There's gonna be a day when they ask me, like, dude, like Call of Duty, or like, Papa, I really want to play Call of Duty. Like, what am I gonna say then? Am I gonna say like, absolutely, man, go all out. I'm gonna play with you. Am I gonna be like,
I would argue that the more dangerous thing for kids these days is the online interactions versus the actual gameplay of a game. I mean, keep them away from GTAs for as long as you can, just based off my personal opinion. I mean, it's a game where it's literally named after the theft of cars. So,
Right.
you know, there are great story arcs and things to acknowledge about those games, but they're not for kids. Plain and simple. But you know, even on a game like Minecraft, if they're in a server that is not like a child-friendly server, there can be some really lewd things spoken to children and things like that. And I think that's the biggest thing I've tried to portray to parents, because they have consulted me a lot. Like, what should I let my game play? Or for instance, a close friend of mine, her son is autistic, and she was asking me, where can he go to play Minecraft where his autism is kept in mind, you know, where there's a community that would support that.
Are there communities?
There are, yes. It's called, I don't want to mispronounce it.
That's fine.
But yeah, it's just there are specific autism Minecraft servers or, you know, places that are friendly to people with other disabilities or specific niche, you know, places. Like, hey, I really like this game, but I also like Minecraft, and now there's a Halo Minecraft server where I also get to play Minecraft with everybody that likes Halo, things like that.
That makes sense. Okay, so you perceive video games as a sport rather than a training to be a killer, of course.
Yeah, I don't want people to, you know, blow you up and be like, it's not a sport, because I very specifically call them esports, because I understand it's not athletic by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, I would very much consider it, you know, a competitive thing versus, you know.
I mean, it depends on how you define it. Athletic, right? Like, I mean, like moving, like using muscles and like timing and like precision to achieve certain goals. Like, if you think about like shooting as a sport, right? Like, you don't run up any mountain, right? You stand with like a rifle and you try to hit the goal or something like that, right? So that's considered a sport, right? Like, if you think about like, I don't know, like think about golfing. Golfing can be stressful, like it can be taxing. Yeah. But like, you essentially stand and you swing like the club, right? Or
my favorite one is poker. It's on ESPN. It gets played all the time, right. And people consider those people sports figures.
Right.
I define a sport personally where two people are essentially competing to achieve a goal for the entertainment of others. So as long as it fits within that, I would consider it a sport. But I often get a lot of resistance from people who are huge NFL fans. Maybe they've never even played a day in their life, but people will bring their pitchforks and yell at you on the internet if you call gaming a sport. And that's fine. I'm not that mad about it. But
how about the community, though? Does the community perceive esports as a real sport?
It depends on because gaming is so finicky, because you'll have your people that will play World of Warcraft all day, and that's their thing, and you have the other people who only play Madden every year when it comes out, and then you have your first-person shooters and your adventure game people, and so there's so many different niches and ways to go about it. But the people who play first-person shooters, I think they have a huge respect for the esports scene in general. Maybe I'm thinking of that from within my box because I am a part of that scene. But when Twitch gets bought by Amazon for $1 billion, you don't, like, that's not, gaming is to be taken seriously because there's a lot of money and business in it. And I think that's the biggest driving force that keeps the NBA, the NFL, and NHL in business, because there's so much money. There's a reason to put your brands with it and continue to develop that sport, and esports are blowing up in that aspect right now.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this acquisition, right? It's an interesting thing, like with Instagram and with Minecraft. Like some of these, like Minecraft was purchased for like $10 billion, like some outrageous.
I think it was like 2.5 or something by Microsoft. It was
crazy,
up there though.
Outrageous amount, and like I would almost argue whether like the purpose of this was like buying a cool thing or buying a user base that is already there. And like all the recent acquisitions seem to be like it's all about the user base. It's Instagram is a cool thing. I use Instagram, but like, what is the real true business purpose of Instagram? Yeah, you might be able to run ads on this stuff, like, but like how?
I mean, when you're Facebook, you can buy anything. I mean.
Yes.
Not anything, but For the most part, like you want it, you can have it.
But
so why not?
Is the purpose to have like a cool photo service and like a cool app that works? Or Facebook could develop like this in a heartbeat, right? Or is it like buying the user base and not having to do the hard road of like promoting something and creating a user base and like rallying people around a cool thing? Like for me, it's a very sneaky way out, just like basically buy a user base. So
that's true, and we deal with this day to day, but maybe they were hurting and they were losing an audience to that platform. So, I've lost you there. Well, I'll just buy it and now I have you again.
Yes, but does the audience identify with that, right? Or does the audience just say like,
well, that's the best part. They're not aware that they're back on it.
But once they start monetizing it, things might change, right?
True.
If the purpose changes a little bit. So I'm curious, like from a gaming perspective, do you know like globally or like in the US, like do you have any stats and figures? Like how many people are playing certain games? Like do like in your realms that you're like hanging around right now, like maybe in your age group, like how many people are gamers?
Yeah, that's like, I don't have any off the top statistics. Normally when I do talk about it, whether it be in a YouTube video or a podcast, do a little bit of pre-show research on it, but it's crazy to think about it now, because if you would have asked me that question maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I think the number of gamers would have been significantly less, because I don't think anybody 6 years ago looked at an iPhone and said that's a gaming platform, or they looked at an Android device and said that's a gaming platform. And I think that's one thing a lot of people don't take into account, is if you're that casual Candy Crush player, or you play Minecraft, that's on phones, and you have full-fledged games like BioShock coming to iPad and iOS devices. These are now gaming platforms, and people in their everyday life, when they're on the train or on a long car ride, they play games on their phones. Would you think that person would consider themselves a gamer? Because by definition, they are a gamer. They're a casual gamer, but they're still a gamer.
They're still a gamer, that's true.
And so that means that people who are 65 and have smartphones, they're gamers. The 3-year-old in the corner with your iPhone because you don't want to deal with it, they're a gamer. The definition has grown very, very much, and so
there's basically no more people left that are not gamers. Like
I would argue that. Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing too is, like, specifically in the community, it's almost become this negative thing to identify as a gamer, because last year, as well as leading in earlier this year, there was this whole Gamergate thing where it's like gamers got this bad rep for being very sexist, misogynistic people. And I took a lot of personal offense to that, because I would consider myself like an active feminist, because I do stick up for, my girlfriend's rights, and people of all colors, ethnicities, sexual orientation. Doesn't matter to me. I understand your need as a human right. And so being a gamer that's really inclusive like that, and then being associated with all the rest of them, it's not fun. And so I've done what I can to distance myself from the gamer definition, but I still have pride in the fact that that's my hobby and passion.
So do you think gaming, like you bring up a good point with the Gamergate thing there, do you think gaming now helps to kick off some debates, like about like some societal issues?
I do.
Like, do you have any more examples of that? Like, I mean, the Gamergate, like the sexism thing was an interesting one. And like, what was the result of that? Like,
I mean, in the end, it just kind of died down and people stopped talking about it.
What happened, actually? I only recall fragments of this.
So, essentially, there is a YouTuber / journalist. She was very outlandish in her opinions of this video game was designed so you could just go and kill strippers. Or when it's a stealth game for the Hitman series, where you had to make an assassination in a strip club, and part of the immersive experience is there are going to be strippers in a strip club. And if the player chose to do so, they could kill a stripper, but that would ruin the mission objective, cause chaos, and probably lead to a mission failure. But because you could do it, she, stuck her pitchfork in the ground and said, "Oh, look at all this abuse that this game was designed to do," and ignored the contextual part of that setting. And she continued to do that throughout the course of many different things. And I do think she does have some valid points, but I think the reason why it blew up so much is because gamers took that and said, "You don't know what you're talking about, you stupid woman," and they proved her points because they were frustrated that they were being attacked. So it really was this big finger-pointing, name-calling fiasco that just made us look really, really bad. And it just was, like I said, it wasn't a nice, you didn't want to be associated with being a gamer because now you're stuck with that. And a lot of people in like the press side of that industry, and like the biggest part of that was she had a part to play, but essentially like a press person was dating somebody in the industry. They had a bad breakup, a bunch of emails got leaked. That's the technical Gamergate thing. And it was saying like there's too many men in the press, and then the women in the industry, they're being oppressed and they don't get to voice their opinions or write their stories, and just a lot of accusations. But in the end, it settled, and people are aware of this issue, whether it be the games industry or outside of it. And I think there was very progressive steps, no matter who you agreed with in that.
Are there any other issues that have been addressed through gaming? I know like a big one has been like addiction, like online addiction, gaming addiction. World of Warcraft, we all know the stories of like people neglecting their children to play like games like World of Warcraft and stuff. Like, has there been anything else that you can recall?
Yeah, I mean, that the crazy thing is like 1 out of every 4 people will have like a genetic disorder to addiction in some way, and it could be the littlest thing like I buy Pepsi every day, or it could be I'm addicted to cigarettes or marijuana, whatever the case may be. It's not necessarily the act, it's it's not the video games, but it's the act of playing the video games that you become addicted to. So when we're talking about like video game addiction, I don't really think it's a thing as much as people have addictive tendencies, and that is their safe outlet. Place. That's their outlet or their preferred addictive tendency. So,
what would you consider yourself addicted?
By definition, yes, I am.
Yes
personally,
or no?
What?
Yes or no?
No, I'm not addicted personally, but
isn't that what every addict would say?
It's true. But the reason I say I would be by definition is if you take a look at, do you think about it when you're not doing it? Yes. How many times a day do you do it? A lot. Do you have you not gone outside and socialized with other people to do it? Yes, I have. When you start breaking it down by those questions, you kind of have to go, well, sure, by definition, I'm addicted, but I view addiction in a sense of, could I sell all my gaming things today and not be twitching out about it? Yeah, I could. I could live without them.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because in the end, like, though it is my hobby and passion, we are only on this planet for a very small amount of time, and the real relevance of all that, it's not. I'll find a different hobby, or just dive into cycling or skateboarding, or find something else to fill that void. It's just nobody's taking it away from me, and I have no reason to walk away from it, so it's my preferred hobby.
How many hours a day do you game?
Not as many as I'd like. I would say roughly like 1 to 2, whether it be like on phones. But the work-life balance, that's where it gets hard, because you work 40 hours a week, and then your significant others also work jobs. And in my situation, my girlfriend, she works nights a lot. So those are the days where I'll do like a 5, 6, 7, 8 hour binge. But, on the days where she does not work as often, or she's worked a day shift as I probably don't even touch a gaming console to keep that balance there. So, for instance, we have the release of Halo 5 coming out on October 27th. I've taken 2 work days off to experience that. And out of that 48 hours, I will probably spend at least a solid 24 playing. So that's where the balance kind of gets thrown off. It's like, yeah, I play 2 to 3 hours a day maybe, but then when the time comes, I will play 24 hours straight. Yep.
So do you feel that it has been an increasing amount of like you using the medium, or has it gone like waves? Like when I think back when I was younger, the games just like, like PC games just like hitting the market and stuff. I was going all out, man. Every day after school, I would just like go and like lock myself in my room, and just like play all those games until like my mom would basically come in and tell me to stop. And sometimes then like go and have dinner and then go back and play some more. And then over time, I realized like, okay, that's probably not the right thing to do, and like got some friends and other hobbies and went out smoking instead, which I don't know what was a better thing to do or not. But yeah, so it's things. So do you feel the consumption of the medium for you has been shifting over time, or has it been like relatively stable?
I would say that it's definitely shifted over time. I mean, of course, when I was in high school, it would be a very simple, walk in the house, drop the backpack, go straight to the Xbox 360. And that would be the process every day. You know, I would even do homework on the bus or in class to make sure that I didn't have to worry about it when I'd get home. So there was I would get on that thing 4 hours, 3 hours, dinner time, get right back on it. And then as I got full-time job, started going to school and doing all these other things, you know, girlfriend, living on your own. I think that was the point when I had moved out and started doing my own thing. That's where there was a big shift, like where I would still do my binge plays, but not as frequently. And it's funny, now that I make YouTube content and I work full-time and the games are the biggest passion that they've ever been in my life, where I have this plethora of knowledge that I just spew into the internet and hope somebody listens to, I don't play games nearly as often as I did even 2 years ago. And it's so ironic. Like, the people in games press or games media that talk about games and play them and give you their opinions the most, play them the least. It's funny.
Interesting. So it seems there's a fine line between passion and addiction then.
Yeah.
You're just going to be able to manage it somehow. Cool. So you touched on that a little bit, and I definitely want to make sure we talk about YouTube. So if you had the choice, would you make gaming your day job?
Yes.
How would you make gaming your day job?
So currently, it's very much through monetizing the platform. So being on YouTube and having ads run on your videos, but then also live streaming and having people out of the kindness of their heart donate to you for providing this entertainment to them. So
you have people donating to you?
I've had it happen a couple times, but nowhere close to the scale. I mean, there are some people who can make like $1,000 in a night or more. And there are people who make upwards of millions of dollars a year from just live streaming or putting videos on YouTube, like PewDiePie.
Exactly. You made like how much? $8.5 million last year?
Yeah.
Something like that.
And that's after YouTube takes their cut of the monetization and all that. So.
But we just did an ad for him, so he owes us. If you hear this.
Well, he's also creating exclusive content for YouTube Red that'll roll out in January. Yeah. So he's definitely partnered very closely with the YouTube program.
So when did you make a decision to go into like publishing on the internet?
I would say that decision tried to happen when I was 14. I saved up a bunch of money from my busboy job. I bought like a $200 capture card for my PC, and I tried to piece it all together. And what eventually happened was just a lot of technical issues that frustrated me to the point where I was like, I think I bought the wrong device. I do not have a lot of money that's expendable at the age of 14 to buy another one. And so I took a very long break from actually putting the content out into the internet and more or less just played on competitive teams or played with other people that could. The official choice to get on YouTube was March of 2014. That was the pivotal, like, I made an announcement video, put it on YouTube, and I was like, hey guys, this is my dream and passion. It starts today.
So it seems to me like that, you know, like that New Year resolution blogger sort of like every Christmas, New Year time, like, I don't know, there's some statistics out there, like every beginning of the year, there's like, I don't know how many new podcasters and bloggers hitting the internet. Everybody with their good ideas about what they're going to do throughout the year. And then like that all fizzles out like 2 weeks later. So you made this decision to publish on the internet. You probably had some sort of like, I don't know, like a mentor there, or like somebody you looked up to.
I had a couple channels, that I would go to for like, I like this format, I like what you do here, but I don't like this. So I tried to piece some of it together, but at that time, I didn't have a laptop either. I didn't have like a thing to put this all together. So like you had mentioned about the Sundance Film Festival earlier, I did everything on an iPhone 5S. I took my video, I used iPhone Movie Maker, very basic video editing, and I would just make opinion videos every Friday of like the news that had happened in the week. So I would call them OTWs, which would often from an SEO standpoint get confused for outfits of the week. But they were my opinions of the week, and I would throw up quick videos and pick my top 2 news stories and give my quick thoughts on them in 5 minutes or less. So
so I'm giving you a lot of shit for this.
No,
because I've seen your channel and I've seen some of your videos, and you haven't been extremely successful yet as compared to like some of those people out there.
Not at all.
So I don't mean to be hard on you, but
it's fine.
like your subscriber rates used to suck.
They did.
Yeah, your publishing frequency used to suck. As
It
does
very
mine right
much,
now with the podcast. So, who am I talking to? How did you find the mental power, to power through this and say yeah, I'm not very successful yet, but I still want to continue doing this. Why don't you just throw it all in, throw it all away, and say it's not my thing. I should do something else.
Well, that's kind of the beauty about the internet is you can take a hiatus, and it's not if it's your hobby, if it's just something you do on the side, if you have real fans, they're going to hold you accountable and be like, where'd the videos go? But at the time, I didn't really have people that were, waiting for my next video or content. And I think that's kind of changed. But the big mental push, I started taking things more seriously when I developed a business model for it and a business plan for the organization that we launched earlier this year, and that's called Project Forge Productions.
Is that a company?
Yeah, so we essentially it's established as a company, and our mission statement is to help create and nurture communities within YouTube and live streaming. So it's pretty much bringing content creators together to collaborate with other people, but really also just focusing on creating quality and relevant content to our verticals of passion. So right now it's very much in the early stages of development. And like you were saying, subscriber rates, we were only at 62 a couple days ago and currently hosting a giveaway, and that's bringing a lot of people to the channel, because that's the tricky part about YouTube, is to get people to the channel. That's when they watch the content and realize that they like it, but you have to give them a reason to go to your channel when there's so many out there, because pretty much everybody with a Gmail account has a YouTube channel. They just, whether they choose to upload to it or not is their choice.
Aren't there also many more people with much more time and maybe also financial means to buy better hardware, have more time to edit stuff and make it cool and sexy for YouTube? So how do you what's your plan to work against that and make your platform or your channel the ultimate platform for people to go to?
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to set a plan because quality comes with experience, I think, on YouTube. You start identifying because you can look at the most well-produced content and have no idea how they got there. But as I've made videos, I've played around with multiple camera angles, different cameras, different microphones, what sounds best, what time of video resonates with people. I have a straight analytic that says any video over 3 minutes, I lose viewer retention. It dips right after 3 minutes. So we've started making videos at least 5 minutes. So hopefully the viewer looks at the video and is like, I got 2 minutes left. Why not finish it? So testing things out really is what has provided more success and more viewership and more engagement on that platform.
What are your goals with the channel? What you want to go to? You have 62. No, how many subscribers do you have right now?
Last time I checked today, we're at 242.
240.
So, yeah.
Within a couple of days.
Yep.
And those are not bought subscribers.
No, they're not bots. It's actually really funny because we've posted 2 videos since announcing the giveaway, and our engagement, we're getting 8-10 comments on it. We're getting multiple likes now, and it's like, hey, we didn't have that 3 days ago, and now we do because we've given people a reason to come to the channel and they're enjoying the content. So it is you spoke about that mental barrier, this is the breaking point for me where it's yes, I need to continue doing this. There are 2 people who have commented on every video I've posted in the last week, giving me powerful feedback and giving me encouragement to continue doing so. And that's my fuel. That's, I don't need the monetization. I don't need the money. I just need somebody out there to be like, I liked that. And then the goal is accomplished.
That's a cool point because I think in any creative thing, and I think what you do is creative, the money is sort of a result.
Yeah.
Right? The money shouldn't be the purpose, because that's the purpose you're going to produce for the money, and that's nothing to do with authenticity. Right? You want to do something that truly reflects what you do, who you are, and what you love. And if things work well, you find a followership. And YouTube, what better platform is there to find a followership than YouTube? And so I've been toying around with the idea of so this podcast, it lives on my website, whoever listens to this, 3qtalk.com, and looking at the analytics there, they're going all over the place. They go up, they go down. If I remind people to go there, they go there. But I think in the stream, where the actual stream lives on the servers, that's where I see a steady stream of people listening to this stuff, right? So people need a good platform that they can associate with to go back and find those episodes. And for me, that's cleaning up the website. It's their podcasting app, right? So they have maybe an iPhone, maybe an Android device, and they use Podcatcher or like some sort of software that just pulls the new episode for them. They listen to that without coming to the website. The beauty about YouTube is it's both, right? YouTube is the hosting site. It's where the files live, and it's also the platform.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been like toying around with the idea, like now with YouTube right around, you can like background listen to stuff.
Yep.
Like maybe that will be a great platform to actually run the podcast at, even though it's a video service, but it wouldn't cost me any money.
No,
right?
it doesn't. So. I mean, it's so funny because YouTube pretty much loses money on YouTube. I mean, not officially, but there's a lot of money that they put into making that platform as premium as it is and allowing us to freely host our content and use that platform to build our brand for free. Like, it's crazy to think about, but it is a great public service. I mean, that's my thoughts on it.
I'm paying like $30 a month now for like my file hosting, just in case.
For your podcast.
For my podcast. Ever I build an audience.
Which is just audio.
It's just audio.
It's crazy.
And YouTube is like HD video, like gigabytes worth of like files, like being juggled around for free. There's also a cool video. I can try to dig this up. But like when you listen to this now, just like go to YouTube and find out how does YouTube work. There's a cool video when a Google engineer actually talks about what is the technology behind YouTube. Like, as you know, like when you click on something, it starts buffering a little bit. And at what stage does it play? When does YouTube detect that your connection is probably not fast enough to support like 1080p and like throttles down to like 720 or 480 or something? Like there's some really cool software behind that makes it happen. And a CDN, a content distribution network that makes it happen globally wherever you are on this planet, right? You can just like have the same experience as long as your ISP is like supporting that. So from a tech perspective, I could nerd out on that like forever because it's a really cool way to do this. So, and I'm glad, even though like you don't have like a huge successful model yet with that, you have an idea and you're trying to drive your idea forward. So which like that I appreciate that about people. Like people who are really passionate about, like they're gonna create some sort of followership. But like if you think about the end of 2015, like what do you want to have accomplished with your channel by the end of like, and put a plug in there please for the channel.
Definitely.
What do you want to have accomplished by the end of 2015?
So personally, my goal is to be at least at 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2015.
And that's like 1.5 months to go.
Yeah, 1.5 months to go. And currently, if we continue to grow at the rate that we're growing right now, which probably won't happen because that growth is directly correlated to a giveaway that we're doing.
What are you giving away?
We are giving away a limited collector's edition of Halo 5, valued at $250, and comes with literally limited collector's edition statues for the Halo series. So any fans of the series, I'll give Ben the link to put in the episode. It will end on November 3rd, so if you're listening to it post this date, I do apologize. But yeah, we're just giving that away, and it comes with a copy of the game and just cool things for Halo fans to nerd out about in the big box. But
so you actually dipped into your own pocket.
Yeah, so a co-founder of the program, Seth, he's actually a close friend and mentor, almost big brother figure to me, and he was like, hey, I have this pre-ordered, I don't want it, and then he's like, do you want to give it away? And I was like, I would love to. That's a great way to grow the platform and bring people to us and see if maybe our content actually is just bad or if we're just not getting it in front of the right people. And we found that we just weren't getting it in front of the right people.
How are you going to know that people don't just want to have the game and then like just run away from you the moment that giveaway is done?
So, yeah, I mean, you bring up a valid thing, and I think often of my own internet behavior, and I have done a lot of the contests that are currently going, and I don't ever think, I'm not resilient enough to go back and be like, oh, I didn't win, unsubscribe. And I think that's kind of what we're banking on, is a lot of people's internet behavior to not go back and unfollow or unsubscribe. But like I said, since we've ran this and we've gotten this increase in followers, we're actually getting people going out of their way to watch the videos and then comment on them. And everybody should know, at least, that it's not going to be oh, I like you the most out of my new subscribers. It's a randomized pick. So with that said, I really don't think that these people who are commenting or continuing to watch the content are faking it. And if they are, bravo. You're helping my video in its organic ratings for free. So that's fine. But yeah, like I said, I think that the people we're bringing in, they're coming for two reasons. We have a giveaway, and we're a video game channel, and we're targeting those exact people. And if you like giveaways and you like video games, you should stick around, because we are going to do more. And that's the plan, and that's how a lot of channels do operate. If you subscribe to us, or if you make this kind of a donation per month, we put you in a club, and then we give a donation away to that club every month of, here's a new headset, here's a product we reviewed, things like that. So
what kind of content do you talk about in your videos?
So it is primarily a gaming and tech content platform, specifically giving my opinions on sales figures versus Xbox One, PS4, what games are doing, what publishers and developers are doing that I think is either progressive or hurtful to the culture of gaming. For instance, I made a video the other day about microtransactions in games and where they belong and where they don't belong. Just things like that. Just feeding the opinion versus, oh, this game sucks, this game's good. Like, as so many will quickly do, I try to give more of an in-depth look and opinion. And I know there's a lot of people that already do that, but, there's always room for another one.
So what validates your opinion versus somebody else's?
I mean...
What gives you credibility? Why would people trust you versus another channel? I mean, there's there's The Verge. There's what's the long form?
There's The Verge, Polygon, IGN.
Polygon, exactly.
Yep.
Polygon's there's games. God damn it! I read this once in a while, but there are a ton of really good publications out there that are businesses based on giving opinions based on all that stuff.
Yeah.
What gives you the credibility to
say something?
To say something, and to be entitled to your opinion, and people maybe coming back and listening to this.
I guess it's one of those things. You can't really go to school to be a video game journalist. You can just go to school to be a journalist, and then you fit the rest of it in. There's not, because video games are so unique in the sense of movies, books, music, is that you have to digest it to be able to speak about it. And from where I sit, I would just say I've accumulated pretty much 19 years of gaming experience and culture and feedback, and I would consider myself to a degree to be well spoken within that vertical, to repurpose my opinions for the ideas of others. And there's nothing that validates me. There's no piece of paper, there's no game platform, there's nothing that says, oh, Kyle's the go-to person about A, B, and C for video games. But that's what we're establishing right now. I'm putting my opinion out there. People are giving me feedback. I'm giving it back and, holding my ground on my thoughts, but also allowing people to help me shape that and push forward with more strong opinions, more heavily stated ideas and premises within the industry. And every day I learn more and more and more about how to read an MPD report for sales figures for which game sold best on which platform, and then connecting that with maybe something that happened on a forum or culture, doing that extra research to be able to connect sales numbers to opinions, I think is the biggest strong suit that me and Seth do pull to that YouTube community. So being able to just talk about it on a higher level versus, oh, I don't like Call of Duty because it's too much like Halo, or oh, that game's not fun. It's like, well, why is it not fun? Give us some feedback. And hey, are there sales numbers to support your opinion to what you said, or are you just completely off on and you just didn't like this game?
All right, since we had opinions, PlayStation 4, Xbox One.
So at this point in both of those console generations, we're 2 years into it. We have a lot of exclusive content for both consoles. It literally comes down to what games do you want to play and what are your favorite game franchises. It's literally the same argument of iPhone versus Android. What are you trying to do with this, and what apps do you like the most for that premise? So I can't really tell you what one is better without getting the feedback from you. Because if you are a Halo fan, or you've had an Xbox 360 in the past and you cherish a lot of the games that you played on that, well, guess what? Xbox 360 is bringing backwards compatibility, or the Xbox One is bringing backwards compatibility to the consumer this fall, and Halo 5 is coming out. So that console's perfect for you. But you tell me you're a racing simulator fan and you also really like to play Call of Duty every year. Well, unfortunately, Microsoft lost some of their exclusivity content with Call of Duty. It's now transitioned over to the PS4 because it has a larger install base, and We don't know when it's coming out, but we do know that Sony's first-party developer is making a new racing game, the Gran Turismo series. So when that's coming out, we don't know, but that's one of the flagship racing sims that have ever existed. So by somebody telling me their preferred gaming styles or features that they like out of a console, I can easily fit them on an unbiased factor, because even though I am an Xbox fanboy, I prefer the Xbox platform. I, as a gamer, identify with all games, and I don't want to lead you in the wrong direction. So I do talk about the strengths of both and the weaknesses of both.
So you, like, the way you talk about this, like, you almost want to be a consultant in the gaming world.
Oh, yeah, that would be a preferred job.
So,
for
like,
sure, yeah.
your title, okay, yeah, cool. So, all right, what's your console of choice then?
Yeah, it's definitely Xbox One, specifically because of the controller and because of Halo. But the controller for sure. I know there's a lot of people out there who will disagree with me on this, but I just do not think the PlayStation controller is comfortable in my hands, and the offset triggers, or thumbsticks, I should say, on the Xbox One controller just feel better in my hand. I enjoy playing for longer amounts of time on that controller, and that's just
do you have
that's
both?
personal preference. I do have both.
You're
yes.
both okay. Well, you're entitled to that opinion then.
Yeah, exactly. The only one that I don't have is the Wii U, and I'm just waiting for them to announce the next Nintendo console. Personally,
Yeah,
so.
Nintendo has been like, I don't know what they've been up to, man. This has been.
The key things with Nintendo, they have the games. They do. They have the Super Smash Brothers, the Mario Karts, things that people have
That's
come
the only
to
reason why
love with
people
Nintendo.
buy this stuff, yeah.
I would argue yes, because of their battle chest of all these IPs that we've all grown to love and play. But the biggest problem, in my opinion, from Nintendo right now is they have no online infrastructure that supports longevity by sticking and staying loyal to that platform. On Xbox One, if my Xbox breaks today, I can buy a new one and all my digital content is attached to my profile. If I buy a new Wii U today, all my digital content is gone.
Do you think consumers know that?
I think that's I don't know. Maybe that is a niche thing
I
where
didn't know
I
that.
only know
I
that.
didn't know that.
But yeah, as
just,
a consumer, though,
yeah.
if you broke your Wii U and you went to buy another one, you just found out that your $300 worth of digital software invested in that console is gone. Would you not never buy a Nintendo product again?
Yeah, but maybe. But it's also like the perception of like what the product is different. Like when Wii came out, Wii was more like a party thing. Like you play in front of your TV and you do bowling and table tennis and all that cool stuff. And it's like, it kind of like, that's what it drew people to that. I think just the fact that it was like, it was a video game console that had nothing to do with violence. Everything was kind of cute. Everything was kind of nice.
But the Wii U was also an anomaly. I can't never say that word right.
The Wii U is, so I don't know the purpose of the Wii U. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Because it comes with this weird screen controller kind of thing. Like, and I don't even know what to make out of this thing, right? It's like, you can play on the thing, but also also on the TV. And it doesn't make sense.
Personally, I don't think the Wii U makes sense either, because for when it released, it does not have the power or graphics to support games that it should. It didn't get third-party support because people were realizing, wow, the install base is so bad that we're not going to go out of our way to optimize our game for your platform.
Right.
And we're just going to stick with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And that also caused a significant demise in sales figures for the Wii U as well.
Yeah,
so.
it's kind of sad because like Nintendo has been like, man, they had the chance to be that one company, man.
That never messed up.
They just fucked it up, man.
Well, but like I was saying, the Wii was an anomaly because technically from the Nintendo to Super Nintendo to N64, their sales numbers have dropped every year. Every new console sold worse than the one before that, except for the Wii. But then the Wii U continued the trend down from the GameCube. So Nintendo on the game console side of things has not been doing well for a very long time. And the one thing that saves them is software. The other thing that saves them is that their handheld platform, the 3DS, is killing it, and it always has been. Their
really?
handheld side of the business
Still?
it's doing better than PlayStation Vita.
But with like iOS and Android markets and like
But here's the
Birds
thing:
and
you can't play Mario on your iPhone.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
You can't do your go-kart games on your iPhone.
You know what?
And the iPhone is a dangerous place where a kid can spend $1,000 before anybody bats an eye, whereas you can't do that on a 3DS. You know, the platform is a family-safe, kid-safe platform where I can give that to my kid and not worry about him breaking the screen if he drops it. So, they're more durable, they're more friendly to the culture.
In my opinion, what Nintendo should do is open up their titles to Android and iOS.
The licensing fees that they would make would be ridiculous.
Even if the game costs $20, people would pay
would pay that
for the experience. Yeah.
I think personally. Well, and the other thing too is a lot of people forget that Nintendo is and always will be, first off, a toy company. They are not a gaming company per se as a priority, and so that's why they've always done things so different.
Yeah, but Microsoft has been like an operating system and like Office, sort of like software company, and
True.
and they managed to like sort of branch out into gaming and like pull that off. All right, so I have to admit I'm a PlayStation 4 player.
Yeah.
And I used to have an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
I sold it. I used to have a PS4 and then I sold it. And like
Bought
so
it again.
I'm somebody who's really excited about something. Like my wife can relate to that. And I get super excited about something, and then like I get a bit switched off, and then like I don't use it for a while, and then I get this pinch, like, and I feel like I spent so much money on this thing, might as well sell it off. And then
Buyer's remorse.
I have no. Now that usually takes a couple of months, but I have no hard feelings selling stuff off again. So I recently bought a PlayStation 4 again for Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
Which is a pretty cool game. And I played the Star Wars Battlefront beta. So like growing up with like Star Wars.
You know, 9 million people played that beta. They broke world records on that.
It's interesting. 9 million people?
I don't...
And that was available for like 3 days or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
It was available for a weekend and some. And the crazy thing is that is the power of the Star Wars brand. It's not even the fact that it's a EA, DICE, Battlefield-esque game. It was... This is Star Wars.
Yeah, just like to see those AT-ATs walking around, like,
right?
And like you see like all right, so we're back. We almost got kicked out of the room, which is gonna be on video now. So I'm glad you brought the camera. But like, try to sync that audio up now after I stopped the recording. So good luck with that.
Thanks. I'll get it.
Do you want to clap again?
Yeah, just for headache later.
Boom. He clapped. So yeah, and I have to admit, like I got really hooked to like those games again, those few games, and like what I'm trying to say. It's a good question. What I'm trying to say this is, like, even though I'm like in my 30s, I still enjoy playing video games.
Yeah.
And I still enjoy sometimes just like switching off by just like jumping in this virtual world of like doing something I wouldn't never do in the real world, like flying around in an airplane, like shooting at stuff.
Right.
And that's kind of cool. I wish I had more time for this. So yeah, like trying to balance it with family life is an interesting thing. But like knowing that my kids like start growing into this, I'm wondering at what stage is it the right stage to like get them involved in that kind of stuff. And so like if you ever have kids, like I'm sure you plan to have kids some stage.
Yeah.
At what age are your kids going to play video games, Kyle?
See, that's the thing about it is, I think I'm gonna do what my mom did, but the one thing my mom maybe just didn't know to do that a lot of my friends' parents did, and I hated when they did it. Because some of my friends had, like, I always had PlayStation consoles growing up. I didn't have the N64. So when I'd hang out with my friends that had an N64, it was like, yes! But their parents had strict, you play for an hour inside, you play for 2 hours outside. And so they really made you, like, cherish that hour that you had. Where my mom was just kind of like, well, where's Kyle? I don't know where he is in the house. He's in some corner playing his Game Boy. And so I always had like this ability to just hone in on it, and I think that's the one thing I would take away from my kids and be like, if you're gonna play video games for 3 hours, that's fine, but you also need to like at least learn how to program a video game for 3 hours. You know, do something constructive, because it's so much more acceptable, or I should say accessible than it has been in the past, to learn how to make these things and really take charge of your future. If you love to play a video game so much, learn how to make that, learn how to code for it, design for it. That would be the kind of direction that I would like to steer my children in, if that is their passion. Because I also, like, if you hate video games, that's fine. You don't have to play video games with Dad.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I will still throw a football with you. You
have a day job. You're working in sort of like sales. And like you're spending like at least 8 hours a day, I guess, in your day job.
Yep.
5 days a week. How is working in sales, playing video games similar or different? What kind of lessons have you learned maybe in one that helps you in the other?
So it's funny because often in sales you have to identify behaviors that are non-progressive to your job, or maybe just aren't helping you. And in video games, you very much have to do the same. In the middle of a match, when it's capture the flag and it's tied with 2 minutes on the clock, do I need to continue to rush in the middle to try and grab a power weapon, or am I risking getting killed by doing so? In the sales job, do I really need to keep sending an email to your Facebook account when you haven't responded, or should I move on to just calling you? Things like that. You have to identify behaviors that are non-progressive to the end goal of essentially winning or getting the sale. So I would say being able to critically look at what I continue to do day in and day out would be the biggest takeaway, and something where I often measure my stats in a first-person shooter. I see, how many headshots do I get? What's my accuracy? What's my kill-death ratio? Okay, I need to stop dying as much. How do I stop doing that? Stop rushing into battle. Stop approaching these maps from these angles. And it's the same thing in sales. How many sales do I have this week? How much revenue do I have associated with my name? Why do I not have so much revenue? Okay, well, I need more appointments to get more sales, to get more revenue. So, it's being able to look at the data and the feed and give yourself that vision of where you need to go, I think is the biggest similarity I can
Has playing video games made you better in sales, or the other way around?
I would say it's the other way around a little bit. Video games are just kind of a different thing in that aspect. When asked to draw a similarity, that's the one I come up with, but I wouldn't say sales or video games have affected my ability to sell by any means. They have affected my ability to connect within the community, but not so much personal performance.
Has sales made you smarter about your YouTube channel and your business idea?
Yes. The privilege that I have working in the capacity that I do has given me so much more insight to digital interactions, analytic analysis, and really just making decisions based off data that is proven. Without this job, I think I would have been much more deterred to fall into and succumb to a lack of motivation because I wasn't seeing the numbers of positivity, versus now when I see that I don't have a lot of subscribers, I can look at how long do the people that are subscribed, how long do they watch for, and how important is this video to them? And I can look at different data, and I don't know if I would have looked at that data or at least been able to appreciate it without the job that I have.
And how many subscribers are you going to quit your day job?
I don't think it's necessarily a subscribers thing as much as it is when it demands it. And when I can financially support myself and truly give it my all, that will be the moment where I will ask myself that question. Because if I could maintain a day job and make $2 million off YouTube at the same time, that would probably be a beneficial thing to just get out of the house and do things, or at least do a job. But at the same time, if you're making $2 million from YouTube, you have an audience, you have a lot of people following you, and you have a need to continue to create quality content for them. And it would be a time to step away. I don't know at what point does 1,000 subscribers mean monetarily to me, but when the moment comes, when the audience demands it, and when I can support myself and still continue to either maintain or increase the quality by making that next step, then I would take it at that.
That was a very consultative way of saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't commit to anything just now. Thank you.
But you can't just, there are people who have quit their day job to just do it, with no following or no baseline of demand.
Yeah, you're right. I appreciate you thinking it through.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's important. So, because there has been no historic evidence, fast forward 30 years, Kyle in his 50s. Are you going to be like a gaming journalist on YouTube?
Hopefully.
In your 50s? Who's going to want to listen to this stuff?
I mean,
there's going to be all 20 years
it's about the value
who's
of
this
the opinion.
old fuck? You think the opinion is going to be that important? But are they not going to be the generation growing into this right now, are they not going to outsmart you? Is there going to be a time when your opinion just wouldn't be valued anymore?
I don't know.
When you outgrow this thing and you just have to, I don't know. I'm playing devil's advocate, right? I
get that.
Yeah.
There are people in the industry who are getting, as far as competitive gaming goes, no, I can't hold my own past 25. But that's just speed of the brain. When it comes to feedback and opinions, there are people in the industry that are 40, 50 that I respect because they have not only the retro but the new, and they stay, as long as you stay up to date. I think it's the same with anything. You could leave a sales job and the fundamentals would be there, but Salesforce didn't exist 15 years ago. How did people keep track of their clients then? And so somebody maybe coming into a sales job now would be very flustered and not know really how to do it or have sticky notes everywhere. And I think the same for gaming. Like right now, I have a full grasp of how news is released, how it's consumed, and as long as I stay up to date with it, I'm not going to lose it. But if I walk away and then come back in 10 years, I'm probably going to be really confused at how people digest that information. So as long as I stick with it and it's my passion and it provides, some sort of, I don't know, because the biggest thing we can do in our lives is create something. And if we don't create and we don't motivate and we don't inspire, then what do we really do? How do we leave a legacy behind past procreation? And so my YouTube channel allows me to create something that, unless YouTube takes the servers down, will be there for my children and my children's children and people in 10, 20, 30 years to see, assuming that the platform doesn't, go away. So that's cool to me. That is something where it's like, I put something into this space and it's not going anywhere. And that's where I feel fulfilled, because so many people have these opinions and they'll just tell them to their friends, but it's not documented anywhere and it's forgotten. So I'm doing what I view as my way to solidify it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's some great last words there.
Right.
We're almost getting kicked out of the room. So before we wrap this up, so I asked this question to everybody,
yes.
And I will repeat the question.
Mm-hmm.
If you had 30 seconds in a global broadcast with all 7 billion people,
mm-hmm.
and like everybody would have to listen to Kyle for like 30 seconds, what would you leave the world with?
I've thought about this question a lot because I've listened to every episode.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I just, it's funny because you can take it in so many directions. If we're going for philosophical advice, I would really, just say be self-aware and be aware of what's around you, really, because the more you understand yourself, the more you can understand the people around you, I believe. So when I've gone through struggles, understanding why those struggles have existed to me and how that made me feel makes me more empathetic to when I see it in other people. I've been fortunate enough to never be homeless, but I've been close, or I've at least had negative some amount of dollars in my bank account with my gas tank on E and still a full week of work ahead of me. And getting to that point sucks. And knowing when other people are at that point and being able to identify and at least support it in a way where it's like, hey, I don't have any money to give you, but I can give you a ride to work. Just being aware of everything around you and being able to aid that help. It's nothing to acknowledge somebody and give somebody at least the time of day. It doesn't really take anything away from you. And too often do we walk down the street with our eyes locked on a phone or talking to somebody, and we don't just take in what is around us and help others. I think that's the biggest thing. That self-awareness piece just leads into being a better person and being able to help and encourage other people, even no matter what their social status is. You have to acknowledge it. And if you don't, you're not doing yourself a greater good. That's how I feel, at least. So
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kyle.
No problem. Thank you for having me on.
That's another episode of the 3Q podcast. Thank you for listening in.
Yeah.
Come to our Facebook page, facebook.com/3QTalk, or the website, 3QTalk.com, or maybe to Kyle's YouTube page.
Yeah.
Where hopefully we're going to upload this video.
Yeah. So if you guys want to find the YouTube, we're going up in organic listings. So you should be able to type Project Forge and scroll down about 5 things.
Project Forge.
Yep. Project Forge
F-O-R-G?
Productions. Yep.
Okay.
If you can't find us on YouTube, Facebook search is pretty spot on, Project Forge. Or feel free to follow Project Forge PRD on Twitter. And you can also follow me personally at KBC00PER on Twitter. So somebody had the ones with O's versus zeros. So whatever. She never tweets either. She tweets once a year. It makes me so mad because she won't give it to me. It's fine. I'm not that salty.
Cool. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.